Hello, everybody. I'm Tom McKee, along with Vic Holquist, and we speak to you from Smiths Falls, Ontario. This is the rally capital of Canada, and during the next hour, you're going to see highlights of the 1974 World Championship Rally of the Rideau Lakes. Rallying has come a long way in the last 15 years, and this is the pace setter across Canada right now for all the rallies that are held in regions in the provinces of Canada. Of course, in the next hour, we don't have sufficient time to show you every mile of this over 1,000-mile route, but we will show you the highlights as these drivers and machines go across every kind of road you can imagine. Roads that you and I drive on, roads that you and I wouldn't drive on. I'm speaking to you from the middle of the main street here at Smiths Falls, Ontario, and to take a further look through this rally capital of Canada, here is Vic Holquist.
Smiths Falls will be celebrating its 150th year in 1976. This town of about 10,000 is situated on the Rideau Canal, 50 miles southeast of Ottawa. It had its beginnings as a railway town and now boasts some diversified industries, large ones and smaller ones that are famous in their own right. Its main street still has buildings on it over 100 years old. Smiths Falls residential areas contain some beautiful older homes. Homes that add warmth and charm to the town nestled in the Rideau Lakes District. As Mayor Dr. Tom Ashwell says, friendliness and hospitality are the key words in the rally capital of Canada.
What you just saw was the headquarters of the Rally of the Rideau Lakes. With me is Mark Chappell, who is the coordinator. And I know that sounds very simple to say you're the coordinator, Mark, but it really is a mammoth job that you have, right?
Yes, our entire organization is volunteer, and we have a staff of approximately 500 to 600 people who are donating their time and services, and more especially their talents, to put this event on.
All right, now before any competitor gets out anywhere near the road circuit, they must go through this building here, right?
That's right. That's our rally headquarters where the documentation procedure takes place. And each driver has to produce the documents necessary to prove his eligibility to enter the rally, which include, obviously, a driver's license from his country of origin, and also a special competition license that's issued by the governing body of motorsport within his country. In Canada, it's the Canadian Automobile Sport Clubs. In Finland, they have a similar body. As well as this, he must have with him the proof of registration for his car to make sure that it is roadworthy and also licensed for the road in the country of his origin, and also proof of insurance.
Now, what do you mean by insurance? That kind of surprises me a little bit.
Well, as you know, rallying takes place on roads which are used by the general public. The competitive part of the event, of course, is on roads that are closed to access by the general public just for the 2-hour duration whilst the cars go through them. But in going from the end of one special stage to the start of another, they travel on the highway as ordinary cars, obeying the ordinary speed limits, stop signs, and what have you. And of course, as ordinary cars on the road, they must be equipped with liability insurance, just as your car and my car is.
How long have you been at this job and preparing for this particular one?
Well, I've been in the rallying game since about 1967. I've competed a little myself on the right-hand side of the car as a co-driver. And I started organizing about 4 years ago in earnest to prepare this event for this day when it's got its World Championship status.
Not even going back that far, but just a couple of years, a lot of people didn't think you were going to get these world caliber and top world drivers here.
No, I think, as with anything that's new to people, there's a certain amount of skepticism when you say, yes, we will build an event that will attract people to send teams of cars and drivers from across the Atlantic just to compete. And I think today we've seen that this has been done. Lancia are here with 25 mechanics, 6 drivers and 3 extremely competitive cars. Fiat are here with 3 competitive cars, one of which will be driven by a Canadian. And their team of service vehicles, I don't know whether you noticed them this morning, 6 immense great red trucks that are just carrying the spare parts that they may need on the course.
So it's all been worth it.
It has indeed.
Mr. Alexander Dardufis from Greece is on the committee of the FIA, and that's the International Automobile Federation, if we translate it to English in those terms. Mr. Dardufis, you're here as an observer. What are you looking for at the rally this year?
Yes, I'm an observer, a FIA observer, and I want to look, first of all, the organization of this rally, and in details how marshals worked, stewards, the itinerary, if it's good, the routes, the main control, all these things. We must inspect all these because, you know, we made a report to the International Sporting Committee in putting points in every question.
So depending on your report, this rally could be a World Championship event next year, or maybe it won't be, depending on what happens. Is that it?
Yes, I think so. But you know, every report that we made, we discussed in our committee, in our committee that it's from 12 members. There are representatives of constructors, of Rally Pilots Association, of some organizers, and members of the International Sporting Committee.
So it's on your say, though. You're the only committee member here right now, and you're the one that goes back with that report, correct?
Yes, I think so.
You had mentioned that there's a possibility that the number of World Championship rallies could be reduced in the next couple of years. Could you explain that for us, please?
Yes, there is a project. The constructors asked to the International Sporting Committee to make the number of events for World Championship 10 at maximum. And I think, from that I know, most of the people in the International Sporting Committee want to reduce and to make 10 rallies for the World Championship. 7 European and 3 extra-European rallies.
So the extra European rallies would not necessarily mean only North America, then?
No, all the other countries extra-European, because now we have the Kenya Safari Rally, we have the Preston Regardless Rally in the United States, this rally, and the Rally di Maroc. And we have a new demand from Rally Bandama, and in South Africa, the Rally Total. And you see, if we shall have these demands, we shall have 6 rallies. And from these 6 rallies, we must choose 3.
So the competition will be tougher then, for the organizers?
Yes, yes. And I can tell you, from that I see, till this moment, I liked very much all the preparation, the organizing, all this. I hope that will be finished in the same like I saw at the beginning.
Mr. Dardufis, we'll check with you when the rally comes to an end later this week.
With pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jim Mickle of Detroit is the technical steward for all these machines and this particular event long before the cars themselves actually reach the starting ramp. Jim, exactly what does all that entail?
Well, the first thing we do is check the cars for noise level. We don't want the cars to be excessively noisy on the road. So we're using sound meters to check them to make sure that they have sufficient muffler systems.
Now, just exactly how do you do that?
We set the cars up in a designated area, have meters set up over here about 50 feet away from the cars. The cars are brought up to 4,500 RPM, held there, and then returned to idle at closed throttle. And we're requiring that they not exceed 89 decibels.
Now, is there any particular problem so far along in the testing here?
We've had a couple of the European cars that were unable to meet the noise level, and we'll have to add better mufflers than they've put on.
What happens in Europe? Do they go straight pipe or what?
In Europe, some of the cars run straight pipe. They run very minimal mufflers, and they're using, I understand, 100 dB in Europe. The difference between 89 and 100 doesn't sound like much, except that every 3 dB is a doubling in noise level.
Yeah.
So we're really talking about 8 times the noise level to be up at 100.
Now, they just rev it up there. They put in neutral and just, you say what, to 4,500?
4,500. We've set it's an arbitrary limit, but it's set there to be reasonable that all the cars can make it without hurting the engines.
Now, if they're on a straight pipe and then they have to put some sort of noise diffusers on it, does that affect their power or their performance capability or potential?
It does hurt it some, but it's not should not be significant at the noise level we're restricting to, and makes it a much more pleasant car to drive at reasonable noise levels.
Now, what other things after they go through the noise check, the noise pollution check?
Okay, the cars are completely checked for normal street legality: headlights, taillights, brake lights, windshield wipers and washers, directional signals. In addition, they're checked for mandatory roll bars, harnesses, safety helmets, first aid kits, flares, large fire extinguishers. All of this is checked at scrutineering to make sure they have the equipment that we require.
As far as the safety factor is concerned, I understand that everything nothing can be free inside the car, right?
That's correct. Everything in the car has to be tied down and tied down securely. As you know, these cars are bouncing through some pretty rough roads, and if we were to have loose things flying around, it could be disastrous to the drivers.
The mayor of Smiths Falls, Dr. Tom Ashwell, and Mrs. Ashwell receive the competitors and the organizers on the eve of the event. There's a good turnout, and the talk is, of course, on rallies past and present. The start of this year's rally comes in for a lot of attention, and the mayor feels right at home when it comes to talking about the sport, having tasted competition. Kim Phillip is Director of Promotions for this year's event. Kim, maybe you could tell us about the preparations that these drivers and co-drivers are undergoing right now.
Well, it's last-minute preparation, Vic. Basically, they want to make sure their paperwork is correct. All the watches of the competitors are set to the same time signal so that everything in the rally will be running on exactly the same second. The last-minute things would also include waterproofing of headlights, making sure that all the tools are secure that they require with them, their clothing is packed away, and this type of thing.
What do you mean by waterproofing of headlights?
Well, the special headlights they're running, which will demonstrate light up the night in front of them, must be taped over down the seals in case water's incurred.
There. Right.
Did you get addendum number 3 to the regulations?
Very nice.
Domenico, let's talk more about these machines. Now, they just brought 3 to Canada, right?
Yes, 3 in Canada, and we will have 4 in POR rally in United States, in Michigan.
Now,
yes,
I understand there's a tremendous amount of parts that also come with them, right?
Yes, of course. It was, it was for Fiat a very big trouble for, to get here spare parts and tires and everything, because, we can get any spare parts here from Fiat Canada, for example. We have to transport everything from Italy, It was a big expedition from Italy.
It certainly must be worthwhile, though, from an advertising point of view, is it not, if you win?
Well, it's the Fiat spend a lot of money, and to try to win this World Championship, it is very important to win this World Championship event, and also the World Championship, because it's very important for the publicity of the car and for the Fiat name, of course.
Something tells me you're going to win. You speak with a lot of confidence.
Who is going to win, you mean? You want the name?
I think you're going to win. You speak with a lot
Fiat,
of confidence.
A lot of Concords, the Lancia are the mostly, I would say, the competitors. They are the car that we feel very much.
You're worried about them,
Yes, they were so much about it, because we always are fighting with Lancia in every part of Europe, and out of Europe we are always fighting with Lancia, in Italy, of course.
Let's take a look at the standings right now. You're fighting for first place with the Fiat team. You came into this rally something like 16 points behind them. Do you think you still have a chance at the driving title?
Well, why not? It is possible. Now we will see how will go this Rideau Lakes rally. But overall, we are interested to do a good rally, a good performance here, and then we will think about the championship.
Did you have all three cars in the San Remo event that you won just a few weeks ago?
2 Stratos and 1 Beta in San Remo, because was mostly in asphalt roads.
I see. And these are brand new cars, you say, just out this year?
Yes, we homologate the Stratos in Group 4 from the 1st October. Now we can use this car and the championship for makes.
Well, it certainly seems like there's a lot of power in there. Keith Billows from England, along with John Campbell. Gentlemen, you're representing the Union Jack by yourselves, I understand, over here, right?
Pretty well, except for the help of our sponsors.
But I think you should explain to us exactly the difference between your situation and, say, a factory team or factory-sponsored drivers.
Well, the factory, they get everything paid for them. Literally everything. They get paid to do it. They get all their hotel expenses, all their fees are paid. Well, we don't. We have to. I have to buy the car, prepare the car myself in my own workshops. Manchester Liners, they pay my air fees wherever I want to go to in the world and my travel expenses. After that, I'm on my own.
So you're a dedicated sportsman, is what you're saying, huh?
Well, yes, something like that.
John, tell us about the flying fish. I hear it is a real flying machine, right?
That it is. I had my first experience with it last night, and it flies. It's an Escort RS 1850. It's a very powerful car, most powerful car I've ever been in. Of course, I'm from the States. I'm from Michigan, and deeply involved in Press on Regardless Rally there. But this year I'm competing. And
Doug Woods is the rally master. Doug, let's find out first of all what a rally master does.
Well, Vic, my job is to set the course for the rally, to decide what roads we're going to use, where we're going to go, where the special stages will be, what the timing will be for the rally, where the controls will go, this sort of thing.
How long ago did this start?
The organization of this rally started 18 months ago.
And did you actually start laying out the course at that time?
No, I started about 6 months ago on the course.
Okay, let's talk about the course itself, the length of it, a number of stages.
Well, the course is just under 1,000 miles, 990.50 to be exact. There's 40 special stages, and they total 238 miles.
What kind of roads will they be driving over?
Well, the special stages themselves, where the competitive driving in the rally takes place, are on forestry access roads, private roads, closed public roads, and these are similar to cottage roads, and some of them are pretty bad, some of them are pretty good, some are slow, some are fast, and in between these special stages, the route is joined up by transport sections, which are just on wide concession roads and on paved highways.
Let's talk about some of these stages, Doug. You say they're concession roads. I gather some of them are no wider than the car itself.
Well, some of the stages are very narrow. If you're driving a car down them, you're pushing down trees with both front fenders. But some of them are also very wide open. The fastest stage in the rally on one of the forestry access roads, the fastest cars will be averaging about 75 miles an hour.
Television cameras are going to be at 3 different stages. Maybe you could explain those. One is the gravel pit, the other is the Almont stage, and we also have some night filming at 32. It's up near Maberly, I believe.
That's right, Vic. The television cameras will have 3 set up on the second stage of the rally, right near the end, and I think they should get some very exciting shots there. We are also setting up in the gravel pit in Smith Falls, which should be quite exciting. There should be a lot of spectators there, and the other location at night should give the people a good idea of what nighttime rallying is like.
Well, Kim, this is the moment they've all been waiting for. The first car is off.
That's right, Vic. Off with 990 miles in front of them. A tough, competitive motoring.
And the first one's off, of course, the defending champions Walter Boyce and Stuart Gray.
That's right, but right here behind them is one of the top drivers in the world, Markku Elen from Finland. Driving for Fiat, he has to be considered a favorite. Here it is, the fabulous Lancia Stratos. This car is so fast and running about 250 horsepower. We've never seen the likes of it in this country before, and I understand they'll be coming here for marketing this fall.
And they're expecting a lot from this car in this rally, too.
That's correct. One thing that we should note here, Vic, is these drivers are driving blind. They have not seen any part of the route yet, and many from Europe have no idea of the type of roads we have here in Canada, although I understand the Rideau Lakes area is very similar to the backcountry in Finland. This is the Polish competitor, Mr. Zazada and his co-driver, Dobransky. They are national heroes in Poland and have brought this Porsche Carrara all the way over just to compete in this rally.
Rally of the Rideau Lakes.
The Volvo, this Volvo is driven by Jimmy Walker from the States and Terry Palmer. They are very, very good competitors from south of the border and come up every year to compete against us here in Canada.
Here's another from the Lancia team.
That's right, Simo Lampinen. He can also be considered in the top 5 rally drivers in the world. This is a different type of Lancia, the Lancia Beta. It develops about 225 horsepower and is front-wheel drive.
And who do we have in this car? There we
The
find
husband
out.
and wife team of the Smithskulls. They are from the United States. John Smithskull is a very steady driver, not terribly fast compared to the European standards, but he is almost very consistent and usually finishes well up in the standings. From England, Brian Kulcheth and Johnston Sire in the Austin Marina. This is a Renault Alpine. They are not marketed in North America, but are extremely popular rally cars throughout the world as they follow the championship trail. Very competitive.
There's a look at the field. How many cars all told have entered, Kim?
51 cars will be starting this morning.
Well, Kim, this is the Almond stage, the first control stage the drivers see. And what does the co-driver see? Is what he sees what we see going up on the screen right now?
These are tulip diagrams, Vic. This is Johnston Sire, the co-driver for Brian Kulcheth in the Marina, reading them off. They are an aerial picture of every intersection the competitor will encounter en route. And they demonstrate the inter-mileage on the left and the accumulative mileage for the total rally on the right. Now here's Boyce, car number 1, flat out through the gully. The road is very, very slippery.
I know I was reading the tulip diagram the same time as you were, Kim, and it didn't really tell me that much. How long is this stage they're in right now?
This is about 6.7 miles in length, and there are, I think, around 8 intersections throughout the stage which they need guidance through. Thus, the tulip diagram issues them that.
Well, here's another look at Walter Boyce when he went through a moment ago.
Yes.
Kim.
You'll notice the way Walter will set the car up for the corner by swinging the back end out, tapping the brakes, swings it out, and then hard on the throttle. Here they are at the finish line. Each stage has radio communication between the start and the finish and any major intersections. All the radio communications for this rally was operated by the 703rd Ottawa Communications Regiment of the Canadian Armed Forces. You can see just how slick it is. These Fiats are having a great deal of difficulty getting the power through the wheels onto the ground.
And time is the factor coming through a stage.
Exactly. They are given stickers at the start of the stage and at the finish of the stage. The time difference on the stickers is their penalty points.
So really, this is where the rally is won or lost, through stages like this.
Exactly. The special stages will indicate, the winners on the special stages will indicate the overall winner of the rally. Here's the Stratos. Minari is an expert from Italy, and he's got an awful lot of horsepower to try to get onto that ground. You'll notice the drivers bring the car around a great deal on entering a corner, right there, and exiting as he puts the power down. Now it's blind, he can't see the crests. He only has to prepare the car for the corner before the corner.
And we'll see exactly how he does it here in this slow motion replay, Kim.
That's right, you can see him correcting with the steering wheel onto the brakes, and he tries to set it up. It's very slippery, and they're not putting the tail end out too far for the right, but watch for the left. There it goes. Now he gets the bite on the right rear tire. You can see him throwing the mud. And here he is up at the finish.
And the gentleman blowing the whistle, what was his purpose there?
That is the flying finish line. They pass that point at the time the whistle is blown. The timers, 200 yards down the road, stop the watches. Then the competitor slows down and receives his time at the control, which is about, as I say, 200 yards past the actual finish line. Then they enter out onto the highway at slow speeds and proceed to the next special stage.
Here's one of the Fiats moving well.
That's right. This should be Marc Guelen, I believe. He's very, very quick.
That was Paganelli, Kim.
Right.
They go by so fast sometimes it's
Sometimes
hard to keep up with them.
These cars are all many of them are very, very similar.
Might mention that this being a controlled stage is closed to the public.
That's correct. All intersecting roads between the start and the finish line, as well as the start and finish, are blocked off for the duration of the rally passing. Now you'll notice the Zada is entirely different in his line through the corner as were the Lancias and the Fiat. The engine over the rear wheels makes it a different handling car, as well his personal style is different. This is the big Volvo. Look at the ground clearance underneath him.
That would help him on some of these rugged roads.
That's
that they
right.
have to go over.
Believe me, later on tonight, I'm sure that these boys are going to encounter very rough, rocky roads, and ground clearance is very important. The underside of all the cars is protected by what we call a sump guard, just in case we crown over rocks. Now, front-wheel drive. You see the entirely with a different line that Simo Lampin is taking in the Lancia. You'll hear him get on the throttle and get off, and he really throws the back end around with a front-wheel drive car.
I can't get over the number of gear changes they go through just going through this short stage we're watching at the moment.
That's right. These are close ratio 5-speed gearboxes, which the idea is to keep the engine in its power band area up at maximum RPM. This is John Davenport receiving his sticker. Now, we were talking about Scourneck earlier, and the other Datsun drivers. Smyskal here is the steady one. You see that entirely a different line he takes down through the stage. Considerably slower, but on the other hand, the car endures a lot less wear and tear.
But can you win if you don't take chances?
No. Well, taking chances, it's varying degrees. A lot of the boys go flat out right from the start in order to open up a lead. Some of them decide that their strategy in a rally such as this, which is over 2 nights and about 1,000 miles, to ease off. And if they need to sprint, they will sprint after a pattern develops in the rally itself. This is the Rideau again. This is one of our Canadian from the Prairie provinces, Burkhard Scourneck and Tony Woodlands in a 240Z. Like the Smyskals, they're very steady and quick, but not exceedingly fast.
How do we do? I can tell you, I don't know. Yeah, Tony? Fantastic stage. Fantastic.
Well, they enjoyed that one, Kim.
They certainly did. This is the Datsun 510, which is a very popular rally car in Canada. very sturdy and nimble.
Another Canadian crew, I believe. Yes.
That's right. Gilchrist and Juan from Kingston.
Pretty good.
Well, there's a good shot.
He's in trouble. Victor Weyer.
He's lost control of the car, Tim.
Yep. Ouch.
Oh, we just came over the hill a little too quickly, that's all.
Oh, well, where did you really feel as if you were really in trouble? Any idea?
Just about when we coming down this hill here, came across, and it looked straight.
Yeah.
And we came down here, and we hit this corner edge here, and the back end came out. And of course, since the back end came out, this is very, very narrow right here by the bridge. And that's what did it. As soon as we hit that bridge, we knew we were going for a ride.
Is she a wipeout? I guess so.
Yeah, we'll probably, I don't know whether we'll get her going again for this event, but we'll certainly get her going for the next one.
I'm sure you will.
Great fun. This is the type of thing that keeps one, shall we say, out of mischief. It's a lot of fun. I think that the main thing is that that everybody realizes the amount of safety precautions that we do have in the vehicles. First thing we want to do, of course, is get up flares and make sure everything's okay and that the drivers and navigators are all right. Without a roll bar and the helmets and sundry other things that we have in the car, it probably would have been a lot worse for us than it was.
This is the gravel pit. It's the 23rd of the 40 stages in the rally, and the first one the drivers will be coming to this afternoon. In just a few moments, 25 cars will be coming through here. Only 25 of the 51 starters completed the first leg, so it gives you an idea of how grueling the competition has been so far, and of course there's still more to come. And in first place, the first two cars, as a matter of fact, are from Team Lancia. The first car is driven by Sandro Manari with his co-driver Mario Minucci, and they've amassed a total of 219.87 penalty points. Another Lancia in second place with Simo Lampinen of Finland and his co-driver John Davenport of England. Their total is 221.35. Third place, the French team of Guy Chausset and his co-driver Jean-Pierre Rouget in an Alpine, and their total is 229.88. Then come the defending champions, Walter Boyce of Ottawa and Stuart Gray of England in a Toyota with a total of 234.77 points. And Team Fiat is out of it. They've had problems. Their three cars are out of the running, so it looks like it's going to be Lancia at the finish if the two Lancia cars can keep up the pace.
Here we are, Sandro Manari in the Lancia. It's a very rough stage, the gravel pit. It's beginning, it really tests the mechanics of the automobile.
So they're not going through here at a high rate of speed, are they, Kim? It's fairly slow.
They're going through as quick as they can, but it's a very tight, what we call a tight stage, and it's difficult to get any high speed. Right there, it's very slippery. Gravel on top of a rock base. It's just like ball bearings under the tires.
Other than their start yesterday and the stopover in Smiths Falls earlier today, this is about the only chance the spectators have had a chance to see them in action.
That's right, Vic. Most of the competition last night, of course, took place throughout the wee hours of the morning. So now we run this stage during daylight hours and invite spectators to it. Now we're going to see Simo Lampinen with the front-wheel drive Beta negotiate the course and watching the tulip diagrams at the same time. These diagrams, you enter by the dot at the bottom and you leave by the arrow at the top.
Let's see if I can pick one out here. Yeah, downhill into gravel pit. He went downhill into gravel pit.
Oh, the water. There's your right-hander. He's in right now. Now look at the front wheel spinning, trying desperately to get the power down. Up through the crest. It's very, very loose gravel right there. Very large turnout from Smith Falls. And Chausset in the Renault. Not as fast as the Lancias through the hairpin. Now right here, I drove it earlier and it's totally blind. You can't see the ramp down into the pit. And then when you hit the water, it comes up on the windscreen. It's very tricky.
This is why the wipers are going right now.
Exactly. You can see it's beginning to get rutted already, only after a few cars.
There's some good-sized boulders out there, too, that if they move off the road...
Yes, there's no room for error.
Pack up the car.
Here's Walter Boyce, our Canadian champion. Watch him set it up for the hairpin. Spinning the wheels, they're having a great deal of trouble getting the power right onto the ground. This is where the co-driver must sort of hang on with his heart in his mouth and try to read the instructions to the driver, yet at the same time he has a natural awareness if the car is going at high speed down these bumpy roads. It takes quite a special individual to sit in that right-hand seat.
He's constantly talking to the driver then.
That's correct. That's correct.
How far ahead does he stay of the driver in warning him what's ahead on the road?
Sufficiently far that the driver can prepare the car for the intersection of the corner approaching. They only have these instructions for the main intersections, so the navigator will probably do what we call count the driver down through tenths and hundredths of a mile to the intersection, starting maybe as far as a half a mile ahead. Particularly if there's a caution in the route book or the driver's instructions.
I understand there is a caution on this one right here.
There is.
Before they go into the gravel pit.
That's
into
correct.
The lower part.
That's correct.
And the caution was made because of the puddle of water they go through, which could blind them momentarily.
Exactly, exactly. And would be a wicked drop off the side if they missed it. This is the Escort, which has whoops, he clipped one of the barriers. With the amount of power he has, if he can get it into a straight line, he'll really trounce it off. There. You can hear from the engine, it's just spinning the tires all the way through. And a Datsun 510, the type of car that we see rallying a very great deal here in Canada. Whoops, a little bit out.
They look very calm in there, Kim.
Believe me, both of them are very, very busy. I've often had both hands covered with blisters after 500 miles of rallying.
And you must lose a few pounds, too, after a few hundred miles.
We've lost up to 10 pounds per rally.
Well, Kim, we've let the cars travel for 4 or 5 hours, and we've got them now at a stop here.
That's right. We're in about 4 or 5 hours later. They pull into, we're here at the BP Service Center on Highway 7. Oh, there's a diagram of it. It demonstrates how it's controlled. The cars enter by where it says in, get a time in. Then they're allowed a certain period of time for servicing. They clock themselves out at the end of the service period on the other side of the main time control and re-enter the route. During servicing, they, of course, check the oil. We'll be filling up with gasoline. And the vital fluids we're seeing here, he's checking the radiator of the car.
Will they have time for any major repairs if the car requires any?
Yes, they do. They'll have time to change brakes, repair suspensions. Here's the Lancia team examining the Lancia Beta of Lampinen. And this is the Stratos. It's a rear engine car, or I should say a mid-engine car, which runs a Ferrari Dino engine, basically. These mechanics are all very, very highly skilled professionals.
How much mechanical experience does the driver have to have?
He has to have sufficient mechanical experience to be able to repair the car en route if it breaks down and he is not near his service area. We carry enough tools to do the basic necessary repairs to keep us going. They're checking the suspension here on the Lancia.
Well, it's hard to tell if they're happy with what they see in there.
Well, some are and some probably aren't, but they're all very busy. It gets very hectic in a service area like this with, as you say, we heard earlier, up to 20, 30 mechanics for one team.
Need that for scoring, and we'll give you a new one when you come up. Okay?
Now, the scorecard, the girl here is receiving her scorecard from John Davenport of the Lancia team. And the scores are computed, interim scores are computed here at the major gas stops and then posted so the competitors and service crew and the press have a good idea of where the cars are. That's Simo Lampinen. Simo's a wonder story in himself. He was crippled as a child and has come on from his problems to become one of the best 5 drivers in the rally world. Now they're heading out from the gas stop into the long night ahead of them of some 500 miles of torturous driving over the back roads. The Rideau still sounds quite strong. Rallying is a marvelous test of the mechanical ability of a driver and co-driver to prepare a car, and for the factory teams to prepare the car. A great deal of the innovations in modern route cars comes from the sport of rallying.
Here's a good example of night rallying, Kim, in a control stage as well.
That's right. This is special stage number 32. Several hours later now, we're watching them going down a typical left-right situation and carrying on through the night. You can see the intensity of these headlights. Behind the wheel, it just looks like daylight. That's Walter. He's really trying. The Rideau appears to have gone out. Walter is ahead of the Rideau on the road. Of course, we don't know yet what happens to the Rideau. And here's Keith Billows in the Escort. It's an American Datsun 240Z. And a Datsun 510 right in pursuit.
Well, Kim, I want to thank you very much for joining me and explaining to us what rallying is all about, but we're not over yet. We still have to check them at the finish line.
To you now from the start and finish line of this 1,200-mile rally. We are just a matter of moments away from the first car that will be coming directly from behind me over this ramp. The last we heard with 3 stages to go, the Lancias were still 1-2. The way they left after the first night, that is Maneri and Minucci and the Stratos in the lead, just a couple of penalty points ahead of their teammates in the other Lancia, that is the Beta, with Lampinen and Davenport in that. The significant thing is that the Alpine Renault rolled over shortly after our television checkpoint out on the stage that you saw last night. It rolled over, broke the windscreen, also looked after the engine pretty well, and so they had to retire. So they are out of it, and that allows Walter Boyce, the Canadian champion and the defending champion here, along with Stuart Gray in their Toyota Celica, to move into 3rd place, and that is the position they hold right now. Keith Billows and John Campbell of Great Britain are in 4th place. They take over there, of course, from Boyce and Gray, who have moved up into 3rd. So that is the situation. It looks as if the Lancias are going to maintain their 1-2 positions that they had after the first day. Let's watch down the road and see who comes around that bend first. Sandro, congratulations. What does this mean for Lancia in the world points?
Well, I think Lancia is leader now.
That'll make your manager happy, huh?
I think, yeah.
Was your manager pretty well telling you what to do in this rally?
Yes, but the car is the first time that he do the rally so rough on the road to completely gravel.
Well, it held up very well, the Stratos, huh?
Yes, fantastic.
Way to go. Danielle, you're the team manager. Must be very happy, huh?
Yes, I'm very happy, and I hope to come back here next year with the 7 colors of the rainbow on the top, on the bonnet of my cars.
These chaps did very well, too.
Yes, very well, the Beta, Mr. Lampinen. Simo?
Yes.
Simo, I'm sure he's got lots to say. How'd it go?
Yeah.
Pretty good?
Yeah, I'm very pleased indeed. It's the first time the car was out really properly in the World Championship, and it did very well. It did just as it was thought to go.
What was your strategy here? Were you pretty well under Daniel's wing here? Did he tell you how to drive, or you guys didn't push it too much in the second night?
Well, he told which sort of tempo to keep up, and he didn't actually tell how to drive. I had to take care of that here inside.
And very well, too. Well, Walter, how do you feel now? What did you do with this rad we hear about?
Well, we had the engine apart so many times before the start. I didn't put any antifreeze in it because I didn't know if it'd have to come down again. And the damn thing just froze up in me at the last stop. And
how long would you have been stopped for it to freeze in?
We were stopped for about an hour and a half.
Oh, I see.
And I wouldn't think it had frozen. I didn't think it would freeze in that time, but it did. We were able to get it thawed. We lost 5 road minutes, which doesn't affect our position, just annoying.
You moved up in one position there because the Rideau went out.
That's right. We were having a good run last night, matching them for stage times, but I don't think we could have overtaken them. They had a 5-minute advantage before the night started.
They're tough, these overseas people, aren't they?
They certainly are. Good competitors.
Well, so are you. Way to go.
Thank you. Get some comments from Stuart here.
Stuart, how'd it go for you?
Very good. Thank you very much, Tom. Yes, thoroughly enjoyed it.
What was significant as far as you were concerned? Was there a highlight of this 1,200 miles or what?
Yes, last night. Last night when we really started to mix it with people like Lampinen and Sandro Minari, when Walter showed he can go as fast as them. With the stages, you know, the right sort of stages when they're twisty and not too fast.
You coming back again?
Oh, I hope so.
Thank you. It's where power doesn't make a difference when we're out there in the tighter roads. And first night we were at a real disadvantage, but last night we were doing all right.
Okay, get some sleep.
Thank you.
Well, Doug spoke to you a couple of days ago about the layout, and now that it's all over, have you had any feedback from the drivers and what it was like out there?
Well, almost every driver I've talked to, Vic, has said they thought it was a fantastic course, and that makes me feel rather proud.
And you had predicted at that time that there wouldn't be too many finishers, that it would be tough on certain drivers.
I predicted not too many finishers, and that's exactly what happened. The Europeans all drove flat out to win, and their cars broke. For them, there's only one place to finish, first overall. And the North Americans, I'm afraid the course is just too tough for them, and so we ended up with only 19 finishers.
You already thinking about next year, Doug, or is that too soon?
We think about next year as soon as, well, tomorrow, in fact. We have to start planning next year's rally tomorrow morning.
Well, Doug, you did a great job. I didn't drive the whole route. I was on part of it, and I thought it was great, and I thought watching it was great, and I'm sure those who were out there really thought the same thing, too.
Well, thanks, Vic.
And so, the 1974 Rally of the Rideau Lakes is history, and our congratulations not only to the winners and all the competitors, but to all the volunteer workers, without which this event would not be of the high world caliber that it has been. We hope you enjoyed it. This is Tom McKee speaking for Vic Holquist and our entire production crew, saying so long from Smiths Falls, the rally capital of Canada.